Hello and welcome to The Inquisitive Crafter. I'm Katrina Stewart of Crafty Jacks, and today we're taking a slightly different route with our video. So when I started this channel, my intention was to only record tutorial informational videos for you. And I wanted to be able to share my knowledge with a broader audience, but also I didn't want the pressure of having to have something made every week to talk about. And part of the reason for that is that my making is a very personal thing, and one where I am doing it to relax and to forget about things. I didn't want to add pressure to my making by saying that I had to create something every single week. And so I was just like, we'll just create a tutorial channel. But I've recently received a lot of emails asking about my different makes that I'm wearing or what's in the background. And then I recently watched an episode of Sweet Georgia Yarns Taking Back Fridays, where Felicia interviewed Grace O'Neill of Babel's Traveling Yarns. And Grace talked about how her videos for her are a record of her makes. She says even if nobody watches them, it's something for her to keep track of what she's done, and it's a record for herself. And I thought that was a really beautiful way of looking at videos and talking about the different things that we do as makers. So today I'm going to talk to you about this make here, this blanket, and a little bit about my weaving journey. So I am a fairly new weaver. I was gifted a loom in November of 2019, and in December I wove my first set of tea towels, which I then gifted to my siblings and my parents for Christmas that year. And I was immediately hooked. Like, I have been a maker from the time I was little. It's been something that's been done for generations in my family. And so I learned to knit when I was about 7. I learned to crochet when I was about 10. I learned to spin in 2014. And so weaving seemed like the next logical progression. But getting a loom is so expensive. So when I was gifted one, I thought, oh, this is just meant to be. So I started with weaving tea towels, and then I soon became absolutely enamored with the idea of making mohair blankets. And so in November, December of 2020, I started looking into it in earnest because I decided that I would make blankets for my mother-in-law and for my parents for Christmas that year. And my friend Kim McKenna of Cladag Fiber Arts, she suggested that I do a warp with wool first and just do the weft with mohair before I did a full mohair blanket. And she was probably right in that, but I have to say I do love a full mohair blanket where the warp and weft are mohair. And so this particular blanket is probably the fifth or sixth blanket that I have woven, and it was finally for me. So I've woven some. I gave one away last summer for our Giving Back program, where I raffled off tickets with some of my makes. I've gifted them to a really dear friend who moved away, and then to parents, and so finally one for me. Now, what I did with this particular one is I wanted to try another wool warp with the mohair weft. And so the wool in this is our Delicious DK, which is a 100% BFL 4-ply DK yarn. And what I did when I wound my warp is I held one strand of Au Naturel with one strand of charred walnut. And so you can see that when I threaded my loom, I didn't want to worry about making sure that it was one strand and then one strand of the two different colors. I just grabbed what came. And so sometimes there's 2 strands of charred walnut together, and sometimes there's 2 strands of Au Naturel together. And you can see that it sort of has created a striping pattern on this blanket. Now the weft is our Mohair Mist DK, which is a mohair wool nylon blend. And it's really sort of soft and fuzzy. So one of the things with mohair is because it is a hair fiber, it is generally speaking warmer than wool, but it's also really lightweight. And so the balance between wool and something like mohair is that you get the warmth and the lightness of the mohair, but you also get some of the strength from the wool. And with this blanket, there's definitely been some errors made. So when I wove it, it was 270 ends that I wove at 6 ends per inch, and it was the full width of my loom, which is 45 inches. And then I decided that I would try and see what would happen if I put it in a warm wash and then put it into my washing machine. And usually I put things into my washing machine on a drain and spin cycle, but this time I'm like, oh, I wonder if I should do a rinse cycle. Well, little did I know the rinse cycle was cold, so it folded and felted it a little bit more than I would have normally wanted, but it's still got a really lovely drape to it and a really lovely hand to it. And so this was woven at 6 ends per inch with 6 picks per inch, and it's just plain weave. And so the weft is charred walnut in the Mohair mist, and the warp is a combination of au naturel and charred walnut in our delicious DK. And so the finished blanket is about 40 inches by about 60 inches. You can see it's just a really sort of light, fluffy, cozy lap blanket, and it's great for curling up by the fire and reading my favorite book. So that's a little bit about this make. If you would like to see us share more about our makes, please let me know. You can let me know in the comments below, or you can send me an email. If you have a question that you would like us to answer in one of our tutorial videos, please send your questions to ask@craftyjacks.ca, and we'll do our best to do that for you. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.